If you've been paying attention to the NBA lately, there's no denying it. Anthony Edwards is finally starting to put it all together. This season has been a roller coaster for both Edwards and the Timberwolves, with plenty ups and downs and frustrating moments along the way. I mean, we've seen multiple times already this year. We've got great snippets of Anthony Edwards saying he hates these double teams. He's also saying the offense, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. But in the past 2 weeks, something has clicked for the young star, and we're starting to see the player we always knew he could become. It's been a season filled with growing pains, I'm going to say once more, both for Edwards and the Wolves. But despite their struggles, though, one thing has remained consistent: the flashes of brilliance from their franchise 23-year-old cornerstone. And ever since Anthony Edwards got that bracelet from Luka, things have taken a complete sharp turn, and I mean a complete sharp turn. He's averaging 33 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 49% from 3 and 63 true shooting over the last 5 games. He's 32 of 66 from deep also over that stretch. I didn't make those numbers up. That's how well he's been playing of recent. Like, he's completely carrying a Wolves team that has looked completely lost at times during this season, finally dragging them back into that playoff conversation. But what's more impressive is exactly how is he doing this. And before I get into that, make sure you guys like that video so I can consistently drop more videos like this. And let's get right into it. I'll be honest, I'll just cut to the chase. The biggest change this season for Anthony Edwards has been that 3-point shot. I mean, he's shooting 42% from 3 on 10 attempts, which is ridiculous. I mean, if you look at the players that are shooting threes, at least with 7 attempts or more, it goes to show you just how well Anthony Edwards has been shooting from the 3-point line this season. When Ant first came into the league, his jumper was more of a work in progress than a reliable weapon. Sure, he always had the confidence to pull up from anywhere, but the consistency just wasn't there. This season, though, he's a complete flamethrower. And what's most exciting about these 3-point shot evolution is because these aren't wide open looks primarily created by someone else. He's pulling up these shots in transition, drilling step back shots over defenders draped all over him, hitting these contested shots like nobody's even there. I mean, look at this sequence in this game. Like, it was like, oh my goodness, what in the world is going on with Anthony Edwards? And it's been consistent all season. Like, plays like that make you realize, like, no, he's not just a good shooter. He's genuinely a great one right now. And if we break down the shooting numbers just a bit more, look at the pull-up shooting. Guys who shoot at least 6 attempts or more. Just look at everybody else 3-point percentage as pull-ups and look at Anthony Edwards. Yeah. He's been that good of a 3-point shooter. That pick and roll primarily with Rudy Gobert, being that shot creator, and defense is always loving to go under mainly on his picks because to stop him from going to the rim, he's pulling up these threes and hitting them at this rate is completely ridiculous, because you're going to see sometimes defenses do this bait and switch to try to get him off the 3-point line when he's too hot. But then again, like I just said, he's been one of the best step back shooters also in the league and pull-up shooters. So Anthony Edwards is completely driving defenses crazy to try new defensive schemes on how to guard him. And to be fair, I'm going to get into it, that there's been some things that's worked and there's been some things that's completely not worked. I mean, Ant talked about it this season, the double teams. That's really been something that's bothering him this season, especially with the departure of Karl Anthony Towns. Now with teams sending more double teams, specifically in these pick and roll sets or in times when he's in the wing, it really does bother him a lot. But this is where I think Ant needs to understand the level of pressure he's applying to defenses now with the threat of his pull-up shooting, because as we know, the pull-up shooting is starting to open up his game of what he can do inside the paint, because as we know, Anthony Edwards has been one of the best finishers, but this season his finishing stats hasn't been all the best because he hasn't figured it out completely, but he's starting to figure it out. He's shooting 57% at the rim And his frequency at going to the rim has dropped as well. I mean, it's natural, right? If you're going to increase your 3-point rate as much as he has, but still hitting it at the efficiency he has is really ridiculous. But his finishing numbers have taken a mighty blow, including his free throw rate. I mean, he's only going to the free throw line about 4 attempts a game. And for the level of slasher that Anthony Edwards is, going to the free throw line only 4 times and drawing fouls only 4 times a game just isn't good, right? I'm not even going to try to defend that. That's something that he's gonna need to try to up, and that's something he's been doing as of recent in these last few games. But that is something that I have to mention because his finishing numbers have decreased, but his level of a finisher, of how great he is, hasn't changed at all. I mean, look at this clip against the Washington Wizards where he absolutely sauteed Kyle Kuzma with this beautiful spin and herky-jerky movement to get this layup off. He still has a lot of moments where he's just dunking over players in the paint, but the problem is the paint is more packed because he doesn't have the level of spacing he would desire, which has brought up why he's shooting more threes. I mean, he talked about it in the offseason. It's something he wanted to add to try to prolong his career. And to be fair, I understand completely. And adding that 3-point shot can prolong your career because eventually your athleticism will start to wane. I mean, big example of that is Vince Carter. It's the reason why he was able to stay in the league as long as he did and still be productive in a lot of those years was because his 3-point shot, he was a very good 3-point shooter. And when his finishing numbers started to decrease with his athleticism, his 3-point shot was the primary focus. That's what Ant's doing. But the problem is he's dabbling in a little bit too much into the 3-point shot for my liking and abandoning that finishing just a little bit too much for me. But as of recent, he has been picking up those finishing numbers, which is why I think he's finally starting to figure out that beautiful blend to really open up his game. Because let's be honest, if defenders have to respect his shot the way they do now when they're pressing up on him more than ever, and when you do that with a player as explosive as Anthony Edwards, you're in trouble. The first step is devastating. If you overplay the 3, he'll blow by you in a flash. If you try to cut him off at the rim, good luck. Capable of throwing these complete dunks and just making these complete adjustments in midair and avoiding shot blockers is ridiculous. But what's been truly special to watch is that development as a 3-point shooter this season, like I've been mentioning over and over. I mean, I've been beating it into your guys' head. I mean, you guys understand it. I think you do. And yes, it hasn't been all smooth sailing. The Timberwolves have struggled mightily this season, and Edwards has had his fair share of off nights. There have been games where his shot selection has been questionable, and that blend that I talked about really struggles in games where he doesn't understand when he should start putting more pressure on the defense, or when games he should start taking advantage of that 3-point shot if they're playing 2 back on him. But here's the thing. Those moments are starting to become less frequent. Edwards is learning how to stay locked in. And even when things aren't going his way, he's realizing he doesn't need to force things, that his natural talent will just help him in a lot of ways. Honestly, in my opinion, I genuinely believe this is something special. I mean, he isn't just putting up big numbers. He's doing it in ways that win games, even though the Timberwolves just hasn't been as good as they have the past season. His improved shooting has made him nearly impossible to guard, and his ability to attack the rim, keep defenses on their heels, is something he's starting to improve as of recent. More importantly, he's learned how to pick his spots and make the right reads for his teammates. I mean, that's something, again, he struggled with the double teams, but he still is a very decent passer at being able to make the right reads. That's just something I want to see him develop more, right? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, eventually all of them had to realize that part, because when teams are going to send these aggressive coverages at you, you're going to have to make those passes and trust your teammates to capitalize on those advantageous situations you create. And I mean, whether it's the bracelet, his work ethic, or just the natural progression of a potential future Hall of Famer, one thing's clear. I genuinely believe he's figuring it out. And when he does, when he completely figures it out, and if that day ever comes, whoo, man, there's just no telling how high that ceiling's going to be, bro. There's just no telling. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys think Anthony Edwards is having a top 15, top 20 season compared to the rest of the players in the NBA. And make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell. Support your boy. Support your boy. And with that being said, check out this video because I think I made a pretty good breakdown for that. Not being biased at all. Bye.